Yo, once again it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV and the House Like Kitchen Sinks. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment, share, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and hit that post notification so anytime I bring you this heat and this action, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive it. Now, with no further ado, let's get into this morning's video, if you will. You know, oftentimes people ask me, what are the keys as far as surviving in prison? What should you do? What should you not do to make sure that you actually make it out of prison? I tell people the main thing, in my opinion, is just respect, man. You got to be humble and you have to be respectful. And in prison, you see some of the most respectful people. Hey, excuse me, man. Hey, I'm sorry about that. And you can't take a person's kindness and humbleness for a weakness. This particular story that I'm about to tell you and share with you all, rather, it didn't actually take place in prison. It took place in the county jail. For people that haven't been incarcerated, which is a great thing, there's a big difference between prison and the county jail. A lot of times people are praying, begging, doing whatever they have to do to get out of that county jail, because you're secluded. Depending on what size cell that you're in, you may be in a cell that's, meant for 10 people, and there's 20 people in there, 25 people. One toilet, one shower, one TV, and if you're lucky, one microwave. I've been in cells where they didn't even have a microwave and 2 telephones with 25 people to share. Now think about that. Think about the tension that's built up, the tension that's in the air. You have all of those people in one cell together. You got certain people that want to watch the game. You got certain people that want to watch wrestling. You got certain people that want to watch BT. You got certain people that want to watch country music channel. On Sundays, guys, like I said, they want to watch the games. They want to watch, the NFL. You got guys that want to watch NASCAR. So it's a constant battle in the county jail, opposed to, once you get to prison, it's a lot more space. You can kind of go out and be on your own. You can walk the yard. You can get you some headphones. You can get you, in a lot of places you can have your own television. So you can kind of, get off to yourself. Now, in this particular situation, we was in the county jail, and there was some youngsters, and they were playing dominoes. Dominoes is one of the more popular games in prison. Everybody loves to play dominoes, but it's an extremely loud game. And people get very loud and obnoxious when they're winning. So when they score, they slam the bones. The bones are the dominoes, for you all that don't know. So instead of just laying the dominoes down, they gonna slam them. Bam! 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 They slamming the dominoes on the table. Gets very loud. Now, a lot of times for common courtesy, people will place a blanket over top of the table. But jail is so petty that they don't even want you placing blankets over the table. And that could be considered, what is it called? Not a biohazard, but a unsanitary, if you will. So depending on which CO is working that night, correction officer, you could receive a write-up. So a lot of times people would just play without the towel or the blanket on the table, rather. This particular situation, a couple guys was at the table. It was 4 people actually at the table. 2 of them were being extremely loud. I'm talking about bam every time they scored. Bam! Bam! So, there was a gentleman. He was probably, I want to say he was, at the time, I don't know, he might have been in his late 30s. Real quiet, humble guy, man. Didn't bother anybody. He was like, hey, anyway, you gentlemen can, maybe quiet down just a little bit, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything like that. I know it says jail, but, it's like 3 a.m, man, and, guys in there kind of, trying to sleep. Now, the county jail guys got a theory. Guys have a routine to where they sleep all day, stay up all night. So, he's asking him, youngsters, man, come on, OG. That's how they talking, OG. We ain't trying to hear that, man. Bam! Should have thought about that before you, did whatever you did to get in here. Bam! Matter of fact, if you don't like it, make bond. Bam! He's just talking crazy. So, the OG, we're going to refer to him as the OG because that's what he was. The OG was like, okay. Didn't say a word. OG didn't say a word. Got in his, got back in his rack. His rack is his bed. I'm trying to, let you all know that, when I'm speaking jail language, I want you all to be able to paint a picture and understand exactly what I'm speaking of. So he gets back into his rack. Doesn't say a word. Maybe about 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe. Everybody had laid it down at that point. It was quiet. When you're in jail, you have, we did. They have these plastic stools. And the stools are basically for when you're on the telephone. You can sit down and talk on the phone. Well, they're plastic, but at the bottom, the stools are very, very heavy. And I guess that's because to support the weight, people sitting on him and sitting on the stools and so forth. So, it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. And all you hear is a big, loud thumping noise. And you hear it over and over, like boom, 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 boom. And you hear a voice. I told you, little young punks. I told you. And he's talking. You hear this individual talking, and you still hear this loud thump noise. Boom. The young dude had went to sleep and thought that it was over with. Wasn't over with. He went to sleep. His head was he was laying on his back, and his head was kind of hanging off the bed a little bit, like kind of hanging to the side. And I guess the OG at that particular moment, he felt the need to do what he needed to do. And he was bashing that little young dude's head. He wasn't even that young. He might have been, 26, 27. And the OG was just bashing his head in and was just talking to him the whole time. You little young punks are going to respect me. And just boom, boom. And I bet you'll learn next time. Boom, boom. And man, that has to be one of the most gruesome things that I've ever seen being locked up. He beat that young boy so bad. Blood was everywhere. The whole, it was terrible. Blood was on the wall. Blood was on the floor. Blood was of course, covering the bed. The guy had blood all over him. And they ended up giving that guy an outside charge for that. An outside assault charge. To go with the time that he already had. And I'm quite sure that he probably ended up having to do 85% of that time. 85% basically just means really there's no parole, or you do 85% of your time before you're eligible for parole. That's what they give you in Kentucky if your case is violent. Otherwise, you do 20%, and then you have a chance to go up for parole. I guess the moral of this video is you definitely have to respect people. And not just in prison, not just in the county jail, just in general. You have to respect people. Because you never know what's on a person's mind. You never know what a person's thinking about. Just because a person is quiet and humble, and just because, the OG didn't say anything, went and laid back down in his rack, he had a plan. He knew he was going to do something. I don't know if he knew exactly, but I know that he had a plan. Be respectful, man. Be humble. You don't want to be, in a situation where you think because you have the power, or, you know what I mean? Like a lot of those CEOs in there are overzealous. They abuse their authority because they feel like they have the power. And I have stories to tell about them just as well. Yeah. I got stories to tell about CEOs just as well. They get their issue, which means they get beat up. They get beat up just as well. So you got to be humble, treat people right, treat people well, treat people the way you want to be treated, treat people with respect. And all of that will come back to you, especially while you're incarcerated. But if you do a whole lot of this yapping, somebody's going to try you. And they won't see, what they call it, selling wolf cookies. And you might run across that person that's looking to buy all the wolf cookies he can personally buy that day. Real Kens TV. Hopefully you don't necessarily want to say enjoyed the video, but hopefully it was informative to you. It allowed you to understand some of the things that go on while people are incarcerated. Definitely share, comment, subscribe to the channel, and that post notification. So anytime I bring you this heat and this action, guess what? Amongst the first to receive it. Real Kens TV. We out.